Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Welcome, everyone. My name is Brandy, and I'm part of the team here at Syncro, and I'll let the ladies introduce themselves.
Hey everybody, it's Tatiana. Welcome.
Hi everyone, it's Hannah. Happy Friday.
Awesome. We are so excited to spend our Friday with you guys. I believe it's going to be Friday for most, if not all of you. So if this is your very first time with us, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so excited. If you've been here for 50 weeks in a row, then welcome back. We like to see you guys here too. We have absolutely no agenda today. And I apologize, I've got a weird light on my face from my window. We have no agenda here. This is absolutely a time for you all to ask any and all questions that you have. There are no questions that are off the table today. So we'll be spending the next 60 minutes answering anything that you guys would like us to, also showing you different features in our platform that can be really beneficial to your business. You'll notice that the three of us will be dropping links in the chat box throughout this session today. Grab those as we go through, because when today's session closes, you won't be able to go back and get those links. We'll be dropping like KBs and videos that will all be just dependent on the questions that you guys ask today. But we would ask that you all drop your questions in the Q&A. It's easier for us to manage that as we go through today. I don't think I've missed anything. Those are just our housekeeping items here today, but I do see that a question has started. I'm not sure if it's a comment or a question, but we'll go ahead and get started, you guys. And I'll also preface this with, we are not technical support. We know a lot about our platform, and we would love to be able to answer any and all questions that you have. We might have to skip over a couple if we need to get some backup from our technical support team and ask them too. So if you pop a question in and we're not getting to you right away, but we've answered others, don't worry, we're trying. There is a chance that we might have you write a technical support ticket though. So be on an eye for that too.
Good morning from Vin. He says, hello, Tanya, Brandy, and Hannah. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Only my very, very, very close friends and family know that my name is actually Tanya. It's a short version of Tatiana, so I'm surprised. Welcome, Vin. Happy Friday.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, I don't think I knew that. Cindy has a question. Hi, can we add an option on the customer online profile for the customer to see the computers that are backed up? I don't believe that you can currently do that. That is an awesome feature request, though. We can absolutely pass that along to the team. I'm just going to share my screen to show you what you can do in terms of assets in the customer online profile. We're going ahead and jumping into a online profile here. And then, of course, this is a place your clients can see open tickets and be able to open a new ticket, see open invoices. If you're set up with any of our payment processors, have them go ahead and make a payment here with Stripe and WorldPay, approve and decline estimates, and then we have a list of their attachments here. So if you feel so inclined to allow them to be able to run a script from here, that they could do that. You can also customize that they can only see their assets. So if you're attaching contacts to specific assets, you can customize their permission in here. That way they can only see that specific asset. I hope that helps, but we'll pass along that feature request.
Happy Friday, best team. Just a note that the date on your YouTube video last Friday was wrong. See, that's why we have you all, because you keep us on our toes and you tell us when we're doing things right and you tell us when we're doing things wrong. So we will get that updated, and we do appreciate you letting us know.
Thank you so much, Fuzi. Question from One Stop IT Solutions. What is the sync interval and update interval of a Syncro agent? How do you manually cycle the agent to update an endpoint? So this is a layered question just because there's certain things that are going to sync a lot faster and update a lot faster than others. For example, your agent offline alert is going to be absolutely immediate on the Syncro side, obviously. And then typically the agent does check in about every 15 minutes. If you want to push a update or force a check-in, you can go to the policy that's applying to that asset, and you can just scroll down to the bottom. You don't have to make any changes, and you can click save changes. We do have a so see, it'll say update 13 assets. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. And then it'll kind of like force a sync really quickly. We do have some pretty exciting updates coming soon around that. I won't say what they will be, but I know that you guys have asked for this for a while, so stay tuned.
Awesome, thank you. Couple questions in here. Chuck says, any ETA when the capability to install Microsoft feature updates might be, and I'm assuming you mean the major feature updates 1909, 1903. If you are referring to those, to be honest, I don't think we have that on our roadmap. From what I've been told, the major feature updates don't work very nicely with any RMM. And so that currently is handled via scripting and will likely continue to be handled scripting, but I'm not 100% sure. We will be having some updates coming to patching though. And then another question from Vin. So need to give techs access to specific scripts. Is there a way to limit which tech can access certain kind of scripts? There isn't right now. We don't have a way to, I'm just going to show you guys this because I love our scripting engine. There isn't a way in the scripting engine to limit text to specific scripts right now. I know that's been requested and I will gladly add your vote because I think that will be really, really beneficial. I also just like to note here that you can categorize these. You can read and write to different custom fields. You can use our PowerShell module too to do things like adding time in a ticket so that you guys are still getting paid and to update statuses of tickets. So there's a lot of different ways you can utilize this. And then like Hannah was mentioning on the customer portal, you can give access. A way that I like to use this is if one of your customers is like an internal IT department and you trust someone there to run scripts on their devices, you could give them access, but not others in the company. So currently you can't limit specific texts from scripts, but awesome request.
I'll grab this one at the top from Jeff. This one is a little bit lengthy and I'm going to keep it short and sweet and straight to the point. Jeff says, I have a client that has an on-site tech. I have them set up as 4 different companies and I know that you can only set up security per one company. So I'll stop right there and I'll share my screen and I'll show you guys what he's talking about. So in the security permissions through Syncro, you have the capability to, in the more admin section, for those of you guys that don't know, we do have security groups. And if you're working with an internal IT department, this is where you can say, yep, I'm going to build a security group for this one specific customer. And then when you're assigning your users, you can say this internal IT tech that I just purchased a license of Syncro for only has access to this security group for this one specific business right here. So as you can see, you and your techs, you guys have 249 possible permissions. This guy is only going to have 29 to choose from. And even with those, you can restrict some of those. So we're kind of setting the stage here. He says, how can I move them into a new customer and add another site for 4 companies? And will I be able to bill each one separately? And will it sync to each of those companies? So I understand your kerfuffle is the word that I use, like the mix up of like, how are you going to make this work billing wise? Because you are correct. If you're billing each location separately, usually what we would recommend is building out each location as a separate customer through Syncro, because then the assets are organized that way, the invoices are organized that way, all the tickets are going to be grouped together in that way. And so if you do put them under one umbrella, there's a couple things that you can do. If you go to the main customer's profile and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can have right here, additional sites and addresses. So you can say like location 1, location 2, location 3, location 4 for you. Within the assets and RMM section, you can assign assets to each location as well. So in this section here, you can customize these columns. If you guys didn't know, that's the button. That's what this button right there is for. But you can say, yep, you know, this machine here is in the second location or whatever it might be. Where it gets tricky is billing. Because again, all of the tickets, all of the invoices are going to be grouped together under that main location. So I don't have a perfect workaround for you. It sounds like this might be a pricing thing. So reach out to either your account rep if you guys are still in an active trial of Syncro, or if you guys are setting this up and you've been using Syncro for years and years and this is just a new situation for you, reach out to our support team and they might have a workaround that I don't know of.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tatiana. Anonymous is asking, can you show how to create an invoice, for example, at the last day of the month and add all tickets related to the client? Is it possible to automate such a bill or invoice creation? Great question. We'll go ahead and show off our recurring invoices here. And so I'll go ahead and go into the invoices tab, and that's where you're going to find the recurring invoices. So under invoice modules, you're going to see recurring invoices. I'm going to jump into an example one for you, but each recurring invoice is attached to a specific client, and then that way it can automate when that invoice is running. And so we'll let that load here. So for Larry's business, you can give it a template name, decide the frequency you'd like to bill, when to run it next at, whether you're billing in arrears or in advance. Then for this client, if you, let's say you're billing them monthly, but then you wanted to add in any pending ticket charges that accrued through that month, you can go ahead and add any pending ticket charges and then add a status that you choose. And so this here, it could be resolved, resolved, ready to invoice. Remember that you can customize your own statuses as well, but that would be a way that you could automate that process. We do have integrations with QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, and Xero, so that these can automatically sync over to your accounting software. Then just a couple of different recurring types here. We have standard line items, asset and RMM counters, where you can even create a saved asset search and pull in a dynamic count there, customer contact counters, and then RMM package counters, and then our awesome new Syncro backup and being able to really easily bill for those on a recurring basis as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. A couple questions in here. So Warren is asking, we have ticket filters for each tech. Is there a way to have multiple texts to a ticket so that they appear in each ticket filter? So currently, we don't have a way to actually add to assign a ticket to multiple technicians. That is a very awesome request, and I know we've gotten that quite often. I know we talked about that internally. I'm not sure if it's on the radar right now, but you also have the option to add a CC. This isn't going to change like on the ticket filter though, so it's not going to put them in that filter, but you can, you know, in the future for a different use case, you can absolutely add an additional CC here onto a ticket. So hopefully that helps. I've also got a question in here, briefly go over branding and the customer portal and its features. So absolutely great question here. I'm going to take you to a couple different places. So one is in the admin section, and we're talking about branding and we're talking about the customer portal. So the account profile is the most important part where you're going to want to add your logo. This is where majority of the branding in our system is pulled from. So that's where, like on the system tray icon, if you, or excuse me, the agent contact form, if you want to use your logo, it will pull here. If you use PDF and email templates, it will pull here. If we go a little further down in admin under preferences, RMM preferences, this is where you're going to add your logo for the system tray icon. So another area to brand. You're also going to choose here what color you want to show on that customer portal for the customer when on the different tabs that I'm going to show you. So that's going to be one. That's going to be the branding. And Tatiana has an awesome link we can drop in the chat box with all the branding options. I'm pretty certain. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but we can drop that. It's really, really helpful. She came up with a really good list there for you. And then a couple different places. So I'm here in the admin section. We also have portal user permission groups. So if I go down to customers, I'm going to see portal user permission groups. What these are is this is choosing on a contact level what you want to make visible to someone on their customer portal. So I'm going to choose, okay, for one contact, I want to give them access to everything. And maybe every other employee, I only want to give them access to their own tickets and to create a ticket. Maybe you have a billing person for that customer and you just want them to have access to the invoices. You can absolutely do that. So this is an example of the customer portal. This is the gray that I've selected. This pulls in my logo from the account profile. And then here I have given them access to everything. So assets, I've given them access to documentation and I've included some monthly reports. I have actual wiki here, their subscriptions, credentials, you name it. They can even approve and decline estimates from here. And then on the customer page itself, if I scroll down all the way to portal users, that's actually where I'm going to choose which permissions that each contact has on that particular customer. So you'll have access to that, and hopefully that helps.
think I'm up. I grabbed a couple questions and just scrolled to the top of the list. Yes, I am next. Question from Rob. He says, Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Rob. Thank you for joining us. Question is, when we add tickets to an invoice, we don't want to have the tech name in the description. Is there a setting to turn this off? There isn't a setting that I know of, but I wanted to take a look together at a couple sections because I'm curious if we can find this together. So real quick, first thing that comes to mind is we go over to our admin section. I open two new tabs here. Under your ticket preferences, I open that in a new tab, as well as our PDF and email templates. I open that in a new tab as well. So the reason I'm looking in ticket settings is because if you scroll down, we have this additional settings button here. Scroll down even further. We have these two sections right here, labor product for ticket timer labor charges, or I'm sorry, customized text for ticket charges, as well as customized text for ticket charges versus ticket timer charges. That's the difference here, timer versus regular ticket. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this in a new tab. And this is, I'm gonna drop this link just because we have so many questions in the Q&A that I don't wanna kind of dig through these. Let me see if this other link is the one that actually I need access to. So what I'm saying here is I'm hoping that the ticket tag is going to, yep, ticket timer tech right here. So make sure that that is not included for you, or tech name is not included, tech bio. So these tags, again, you would pop them into the settings section. That is what would populate on the ticket. And if you're pulling in pending ticket charges into your recurring invoice or any invoice, that is where that tech name will be coming from. So please take a look at this KB and remove the tags that you don't need. If the tag is not there, reach out to our support team to see if there's another way to remove that tech name. I don't know of another way for that. So that addresses that question there for you. And I will hand it over to Brandy for the anonymous question.
The anonymous question. Alrighty. So what's a Syncro device as a device type? Is there a way to change it to a different device type? And also, is there a way to customize the Windows service name to not show Syncro? I'm waiting on the second part of that. I don't think there's a way to customize the service name, but someone in here might know, to be honest. So you guys can let us know if there is, but I do have that sent off to support. Syncro device. So really good question. This is something that's asked pretty often. A Syncro device, and no, the answer is no on that. So I was right. Yay. On a Syncro device, that just means that the Syncro agent is installed on that particular device. There's not going to be a way to change that right now, because that is what triggers some things on the back end, right? I could do my billing that way. I could bill them $50 for every single managed device that they have. But you can create custom assets. So if it's not a managed asset, you can, of course, create different asset types. Just know that if it's a server or workstation, it has a Syncro agent installed, that is absolutely going to have to stay that way. But otherwise, you can create different custom assets inside of Syncro. So hopefully that helps. I think I had another one in here. Yeah, Vin, great question. So will you please elaborate on products and services and what this can be used for? So I love that question. We don't drill down into this enough. Products and services can be used a lot of different ways, and everyone here might use them differently. Each policy that you have inside of our system actually creates a product and service, if you will, because again, you can build dynamically based on this. So I could find every single platinum policy that Larry had and charge a certain amount per month. So there's going to be a lot of options there. It's also going to include your labor rates. It's going to include your prepaid hours. So it might not be a section that you're playing around in all of the time or you're using all of the time, but when you do tickets and when you do invoices, you are pulling items or labor rates directly from your products and services section. I love this because too, you can include upsell opportunities. So just another way for your company to make business or to make money. I could be selling a new laptop to someone. And just like when you go to Best Buy and they're like, you're checking out at the register and they're like, do you want to add the extended warranty? That could be the upsell opportunity that you have. So I'm selling a laptop. Do I want to sell them a screen protector? Do I want to sell them a case, a laptop, a charging cord, or a charging cord, whatever it is that you want to sell? When I go add this item onto an estimate or an invoice, it's actually going to pop up and say, do you want to add this, this, and this? So those are really, really nice You can maintain stock too. So if you do have a physical location, a storage closet or unit that has products and services, you wouldn't have services in there, but products, then of course this will reduce stock too. If you go, I could be searching for a certain serial number and it's going to show me what ticket that was added to. So that's just a couple different ways that you might want to utilize this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandy. Laura has a question. We've been working with the Executive Summary Report Builder. When adding tickets list block, it only gives the option for number of items limit to, as opposed to a time frame like the text report block offers, this month or last 30 days. Any reason why? We would like to provide a recap on tickets for the previous month and have not found a way to do that. If the ticket time tracking report would allow per customer versus per employee. Great feature request, Laura. I would actually recommend writing that into technical support just so that they can know that that's something that you would like. That is awesome. Just to share my screen so we can take a look at what Laura is talking about. She is in the report section and then editing her template for the executive summary report builder. I do know that we are adding new features to this specific builder all the time in order to make it the best that it can be for you guys. And so if there is anything that you feel like you would like to see in the template options. So as you're adding in visual summaries or text summaries, having different options here, please write those into technical support. And then that way they can add those in as a feature request. And then I have one more. Rob is asking, is there a way to duplicate a ticket? I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, there is a way to duplicate a ticket at this time. However, you can create recurring tickets. And so if there's a specific ticket that you're looking for to maybe put on a recurring basis, that there are actions, then you could take this ticket and make it recurring. So it'll add in as a recurring template for you.
Super helpful. Thank you so much. I have a question here from Randy. He says, sorry for coming late. It's okay, Randy. I won't even push your question to the bottom of the list. We'll take it even as it comes. So you are welcome. Thank you for joining. Question is there a way to show the site on an invoice for a client with more than one site? So this goes back to the initial question that was asked at the beginning. I think you might have missed it. At this time, we don't have a way, we don't have a tag to show multiple additional sites that I can personally see through Syncro. The only way around this would be if you wanted to build, I was looking here in our invoice templates, and you can pull in, can you guys see the screen? My little green line is missing again.
Yes.
Thank you. So customer here is, I'm in my admin section under PDF and email templates, invoice templates, and I'm editing a template. Randy, I know you've been here for a while, so I know you know where I'm at. And I'm searching here through the customer, I typed in customer template tag, and you can have custom fields. That would be the only way that you can customize that even further, because you can pull in billing name, but not like site address. So even with that, I would kind of, this would be the only thing that you can customize, because I searched for like site or address and those are not available tags. So if there's a way that you can pull in based off of a custom field into maybe a separate invoice template, or edited once it has been created, something like that, I don't have a perfect workaround for you, so sorry about that. Let's see, next question here is going to be from another one from Randy. He says, is there a way to bill clients automatically, say daily or weekly, for anyone that has a resolved ticket but is not under a service contract? We often miss them, and the client gets upset when we finally bill them much later. Yep, this is super important. This is how you guys get paid for the work that you do, and we definitely don't want you to leave any money on the table. So what I would recommend is actually setting up a recurring invoice. Even if it's a break fix customer, they call you when everything's on fire, you swoop in, you fix everything, and then you forget to bill them until it's like a couple months later. Let's fix that. So let's set up a recurring invoice here for your customer. You can call it whatever you want. I was creating a brand new one here. And then you can choose to run this here. Let me get out of this one just to make it a little bit more clear, because I was trying to answer another question in the queue while the ladies were answering theirs. So let's go to a new clean one and I'll show you. So I would recommend setting up a recurring invoice template and maybe just creating a custom ticket status and billing that way. So you can set a template and you can say, for this customer, this is a break fix customer. I want to bill them weekly. Every week I want to send them a bill. We're going to start it on the first of every month. What I want to do is pull in pending ticket charges. So any time that you have tracked for that specific customer, it would pull it in, but maybe if you wanted to, you could set it up based off of a ticket status. So you could say resolved dash B/F customer, like break fix customer or something like that, like resolved ready to invoice. A lot of you guys use that one to where like, yes, the ticket is done. Yes, the work is complete. You've already checked it. And then that way it would be only billing them for those. You can automatically email the customer if you wanted to. This button right here specific to this scenario is going to be super important because if you didn't do any work for them that week, why would you send them a $0 invoice? That's just going to be like, they'll be even more mad than getting an invoice 3 months later. So definitely go ahead and just say do not allow generation of blank invoices, and hopefully that'll be helpful to you, Randy. And then I'll grab another one here from Adam. He says, regarding estimates and quotes, is there any plans for integration with service like, I think it's Eatalize, maybe? Correct me if I'm wrong. So we can get distribution in live pricing in stock. This is actually getting more and more popularly requested. Obviously, we do integrate with Pax8 for licensing, but for products that need super quick updates to the pricing before you send them to your customer, we don't. I haven't heard of any concrete plans for an integration with Eatalize. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it doesn't mean that it's not important. I think right now the easiest way to do that would be to build out the the product with all the details in there, but just put in maybe a $0 cost so that when you are creating that estimate or that invoice, even if you send it to the customer, you can quickly edit it and say, hey, actually pricing, we didn't update it, didn't include it, instead of showing like last week's pricing, which was cheaper, and then you're like, oh, actually it's going to be, $100 more expensive. Like it's easier to say, whoops, I forgot to put it in if it's a $0 cost price tag versus like, oh, actually it's going to be an extra $100 this week, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's helpful, but I'm going to stop there. I have other questions, but I'm going to stop there and let the ladies grab some of these.
Awesome. Thanks, Tatiana. I do have a question in here from Huey. So is there a way to get an alert or notification when an asset is pending a restart? I did just double check in our notification center to see if there was anything on that. I did not see anything. So I'm not sure if there's like a way that's not native in Syncro to do that, but not natively. And then I have a couple questions in here. So Rob, on recurring invoices, there's a checkbox that says email customer the PDF. This is unchecked by default. Can it be turned on by default when we create a new recurring invoice? So that currently is not an option. I did just double check in our invoicing section. He is referring to, if I pop over into my invoices and I go over to a recurring invoice, and this is something that some of you might be doing if it is, if you're using like QuickBooks or Xero to send your invoices, then you obviously wouldn't select this option, but it is unselected by default and you would need to come in and select those by default. Now, if you wanted to, you could clone this, right? And then that's going to be set by default to the ones that you clone. So that would be the current only way to handle that. And then Warren, so how did you get the tab in the products and services page? Really great question. Let me share this for you. And I'll drop the KB on this too, because it can be a little bit confusing. There are quite a few steps here. So if I pop over into the admin section and I go down to inventory preferences, you can add additional categories in here. And so this is where my different categories are showing up right in the products and services section. I'm assuming that's what you referred to on my tabs. So I'll send you the information on how to do so.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandy. Garrett has a comment. FYI, custom asset type won't change if you check it in as a custom asset type like repair, then install RMM later. Ticket opened with support since you can't then auto bill based on Syncro device. We are trying to figure out a workaround in the meantime. Thank you, Garrett, for adding in that comment. Definitely when a agent is deployed out, that device does become a Syncro agent. Just wanted to share my screen here with a possible workaround for you. I don't know if it makes sense, but for example, on one of our assets, we actually have where we have a custom field that's a checkbox. So for example, let's say we wanted to bill against, all of our servers and our workstations would technically be Syncro devices, but maybe we want to designate which ones are a particular server versus a workstation and then bill in our recurring invoice based on the differentiation for those. You can actually use a saved asset search. So if you wanted to go ahead and create a custom field that was a checkbox, you could come back to the assets in RMM, and then with that magnifying glass here, go ahead and create a saved search that was based on that specific custom field checkbox. And then on your recurring invoice, go ahead and bill against that saved search. So hopefully that possibly could help you. And then another question from Anonymous. Thank you. Oh, thank you for thoroughly answering all of my anonymous questions. Don't ever be too shy to share your name. We'd love to know who you are. Another one here, I charge my clients a flat rate fee. I'm using labor notes to enter time against some tickets and the time field on email message field as well to capture notes and communications. I'm not sure how the time feature / charge will impact when I create monthly invoices. Can you please demonstrate it? Also, is there a way to display summary / simple ticket name, time spent on invoice by item? Can you show what an invoice would look like? Fully loaded question right there. We can't actually show you what a preview of a recurring invoice would look like, but just wanted to highlight a few things for you on a ticket. So if I've added my time here in the labor log, and whether you're adding it here or in the communications box, all of the time items will be here. When you're generating a ad hoc invoice, for example, so if I go to generate an invoice, and bear with my internet, it's a little slow. But then if you hit this PDF button here, you can go ahead and preview that specific invoice. And so here it'll give you, with the invoice template that I have, information on what's here, and you can edit the description as well. And then also associate your public notes and public comments here that you've designated from within the ticket. In order to customize your invoice template, that you'll want to go to the admin section. And then under PDF and email templates, go through here, and whether it's a ticket template or invoice template, customize what you'd like your end user to see or your client.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Hannah. I have a question here from David. He says, when I started invoicing with Syncro, I have changed the way I name customers in QuickBooks. I have made sure that the Syncro customer matches the same name as in QuickBooks. However, after each sync with some customers only, Syncro creates a new customer in QuickBooks with the old customer name. I asked someone from our technical support team, and the answer that I got is it sounds like once they are mapped to the customers, it shouldn't change. But if the first invoice is processed and the names are different, it will make a new customer. So there sounds like there isn't a super great workaround. It sounds like with QuickBooks Online, it'll give you more flexibility with mapping the customers in the way that you want it to. So hopefully that is helpful to you there. I'm also going to grab another question here from Brian that I needed some assistance on, and I did get the answer to. Brian says, MCSoft Syncro integration, the alerts show the details, and it says managed antivirus. MCSoft recently found and quarantined one threat type on this device. Can the alert have all the details similar to what an MCSoft alert email would send out? I love this feature request. It is a feature request at this time. Unfortunately, there isn't any buttons or details that you're missing to display that, but we will pass that along to our tech support team so that they can pass it along to the devs for sure. Next question here is from Randy. Can we change the tech name to their initial on an invoice? Printing the full names takes up a lot of space on every line item on invoices, but we would still like to see who the tech is, so we don't want to remove it. Makes sense to me. The only way around this that I can think of is maybe using the tech signature as a tag on the ticket in either the ticket timer tags. I think nope, not just the regular ticket tags. So if you wanted to put like the text signature here instead, like signature line, you can include that, and then just make sure that when the tech is setting up their initial profile, that that is just their initials there instead of their full tech name. So that is the only workaround that I have for you there, Randy. Hopefully that helps. And then the last one that I'll grab here, if I can find my Q&A section again, is from Vin, maybe two more. Vin says, when I subscribe to WebRoot through Syncro, can I still access my account with WebRoot, or Syncro will be my go-to place to check alerts and etc.? Yes, what happens when you deploy WebRoot through Syncro, I'm going to share my screen here real quick and I'll show you where exactly to find that. You go under more, policies, and any policy that you click into through Syncro is going to give you the option, do you want to deploy WebRoot to these endpoints or not? So click into any policies, scroll down halfway to your WebRoot section, and this is where you would say, yep, I want to enable WebRoot. Okay, perfect. Syncro will deploy it for you. That asset will pop up in the Secure Anywhere portal, and then that is where you would adjust all the settings from there. So any alerts, settings, things like that. There's a couple alerts that will filter into Syncro, but again, the purposes of the integration is for super easy deployment and having an all-in-one place for deployment, as well as a single bill for both your Syncro cost per month, as well as your WebRoot billing, if that makes sense. And then the last one, Edward, how do I upload a file that will be used in a script? Thanks. You're welcome. Super excited to show you. This is actually a lot easier than people expect. If you go over to your script section, I'll show you, you can access, there's a section where you have to upload the file first, and then once you do upload it, then you can pull it into any script that you're working on. So in the script section, go ahead and click add new file. And this is where you would select the file to upload it there, and then any script that you click into that you are editing or creating a new one, once you have uploaded it there, you click add required file. You can specify the destination file path, and then here's the list of files that you have already uploaded for you to choose from. So there you go. That's it for me.
I think that means it's me. Okay, let's see here. Emily, hello, Syncro team. Hello, Emily. Is there a way to assign an RMM policy for all assets of a customer by default? And if so, where would that setting be? There is not a way to do this, just like a setting to do it by default. Now, of course, if I open up, and you probably know this already, but when you install Syncro, you are choosing a policy. And if I go to that customer, to the RMM agent installer, and choose a policy, of course, it's going to generate this installer specific for the customer. So it is all going to go in there. Another thing that I like to let people know, this isn't by default upon install, but at any point in time, I could go find all of Larry's devices if I wanted to, any location if I wanted to, I could search for these devices. And then from here, I can change the policy en masse. So sometimes people will have just like a base policy that they apply to every single device, and then you can change those. So hopefully that helps. I know it's a little bit of a workaround there. I have a couple questions in here about invoices. So I'm going to go ahead and cover these. Laura is asking, can you clarify the period mode on invoices? We typically bill up front for the next month's services, but also include any additional billable items from the previous month, which I assume would be handled by adding pending ticket charges. Yes, it will. So we bill in mid-February or at the end of February for March services, and any additional billing items at the same time. So yes, let me just share my screen here. I'm going to pop open an invoice, and I'm going to go into the recurring invoice. And I saw another question in here about the period mode, so I'm just going to go ahead and cover that. Period mode in advance. So, and there's a couple. We used to only have just arrears or in advance. So billing period ends the day of the invoice creation, which would mean I'm not billing them. It doesn't end the day before, right? It literally ends the day that the invoice is created. In arrears exclusive is it's going to end the day before. So if I'm billing today, instead of today ending like this one, the period, it's going to be yesterday, and I'm sending out the bill today. Now, of course, in advance is going to be, right, I'm billing them today for their services next month. So really, it just depends on, I don't think the arrears or in advance matters as much as the day that you want it to actually occur. Because if you are billing like you said, Laura, if you're billing in advance for their services and arrears for their pending tickets, then it truly doesn't really matter. But you can just come in here and say, okay, let's pull in any resolved tickets. What I would do here is if you're billing at the end of February for March, I would say that it starts into February billing part. Yeah, I would do this. And I would choose that it's going to run on the last calendar day of the month. And then I would also go down and I would add my services that I want to bill them here for. So I would definitely do it that way. And I think there's another one in here. Yeah, a couple questions. So anonymous again. So does Syncro offer any software inventory or reporting? You can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I want to make sure this is what you're referring to. Of course, I can go into any particular device and I can view the software that's installed on that particular device. But in the report section, I'm also able to come in and I could view a software inventory right here. And I can do this by customer. And it's going to show me all of the software that's installed and how many devices have that, as well as their version. So this is one way that you could handle this as well. You could schedule this on a regular basis if you would prefer to do that. A lot of our reports are going to be handled that way. And let's see if there's any others in here. Corey, MCSoft, great question. So you guys, we do integrate with MCSoft, Bitdefender, and WebRoot, all for antivirus. So he's asking, do we sign up? Do we have to sign up with MCSoft in order to get more advanced information similar to WebRoot, or can we get portal access through our Syncro account? You can. So there's an MCSoft Cloud Console, which is, you can choose if it's Syncro managed or MCSoft Cloud Console managed. It will give you further features and reporting and such. So I can drop the MCSoft Cloud Console KB in there for you. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandy. That was great. Randy has a question. Is there a report that shows unbilled time by customer? A couple of things, Randy, I'd love to share with you. One of which is going to be the pending ticket charges report. And so this one would be any pending ticket charges that are still open, that haven't been billed, and that's going to be per customer. Another way would be the ticket time entry one. I know that one's not per customer, but just a way for you to see different ticket time entries that then would be billed versus not billed. Another way to kind of designate it by client would be inside a ticket when you have charges that are line items on labor, that it's going to take it into this new billing status that's invoice required. So one thing that you could do is create a saved ticket view in your tickets module. So our saved views are going to be here, and you can create a new one and be able to possibly go ahead and say, okay, if the status is resolved, but then the billing status is either invoice required or partially invoiced, that then you can create a saved view to see all those tickets that then would be resolved, but then have not yet been invoiced. And so hopefully that helps. Another one here. Anonymous is asking, is there a way to open a ticket with a past date and change/adjust the time entered on the communications message field? And so here what you can do is in the ticket, you can't adjust the date that the ticket was created. You can adjust the due date, but not the date that it was created. And then if you're logging time here, that if you'd like to edit that time entry, you're going to do so in the labor log. You'll just hit view log here and then clear the charge, say okay, and then go ahead and edit what you need there, as well as edit any notes. Then I've got one more. Mark is asking, does Syncro have a survey after work is performed? Great question. There isn't a built-in survey that you can send out. However, we do have a mailer. And so in Mailer, you can set up to where if you'd like to follow up with your client after a ticket is closed, you can set up an automatic triggered mailing, like possibly maybe 2 days since the ticket was closed here, and then be able to customize what goes out to them in terms of your follow-up. We give you available template tags here. And then we also have an integration. I'm just going to go to the App Center with a application called SimpleStat. And so that's also going to be, let's see where it is. Oh, right here, a way that you could go ahead and send out customer surveys.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Hannah. I think next two are for me. Both of these for Fuzi and for Vin, I'm gonna drop KBs into the chat box for you guys so you can take a closer look. I think both of these you might need to reach out to our support team. So Fuzi's question was, is there a way to import or replicate the name from Splashtop to Syncro? I truly don't know, but I'll send you the resource for that. When, like I said, if you have questions beyond that, please reach out to our support team. And same thing for Vin. He says how to add mobile number for SMS account recovery. That one is available for SMS recovery for multi-factor authentication, which is absolutely required through Syncro. And I'll send the KB. I'm not 100% sure if that is a must-have to be set up on the initial kind of setup of your multi-factor through Syncro, if that can be added later. So I'll drop the KB in there for you guys. And then let me see if I can grab another one, since those were kind of like, I'll send you the resources. Oh, here's another one from Steve. He says, I was late, so sorry if anybody already asked. That's okay. Welcome, welcome. We really want to begin testing the Mac agent, but are not interested in doing so without knowing what it's actually doing. Has a feature list for the Mac agent been released yet, or are you able to review those features here? Really good question. This is coming very, very soon. I hear you, especially if you are testing not on your own endpoints, but for your customers. You definitely want to know what is happening, what is going on, what to expect. Obviously, it's a beta, so it's testing. I'll send you this link to our Facebook group. For any of you guys that are not in there yet, please do join. Just let them know that we sent you from our open office hours on Friday and that you're curious. But Andy goes through all the details of what is happening with the version 2 of the Mac agent beta that is actually going to be released very, very soon based on this post. So I'm gonna leave that there, and you guys can take a closer look at all the details.
And really quickly, thank you for the reminder. This is your 14-minute warning to go ahead and grab those chat links out of our chat box. We'll continue to add some, so go ahead and grab those. And I appreciate the reminder.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I missed one earlier, so sorry, Emily. Is there a way to export a list of all assets from a single customer? Additionally, is there a way to export a list of assets based on filtered assets? Yes, there is. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So Emily, when you're in the, let me just scroll back up here, Assets and RMM tab, whether you'd like to search by a specific list by customer. And so let me just let my internet load here. There we go. So let's say I'd like to do it by a specific client, that I can go ahead and hit search right here. And so it'll give me all of those assets. I can go ahead and select all and then hit actions, or you might not even have to select all, but select actions and then export all, and it should go ahead and execute out a CSV where then you can have a list of those assets. And you should be able to do that as well from a saved asset search.
Awesome. Thank you. Ari, now I see your question. I promise I hadn't skipped over it. You were just next in line. So I'm finally implementing the billing side of Syncro. I've been using Syncro for everything except billing for the last year. Are there any guides or resources for implementing billing with QuickBooks Online specifically? Related, I'm considering bringing my accountant into Syncro temporarily for the implementation, but after that point, you will just need access to QuickBooks Online. That's typically how it works. Do I need another license for that? If so, can I get an extra license for just 1 month? The great thing is you can upgrade your number of users for any amount of time. So a lot of you might have a contractor or an intern for the summer. You can increase your user count, and you would just disable that user whenever you were not using them anymore. Now, this only applies to monthly plans, because annual plans, everyone would need to be on that same schedule. So you would be billed for the prorated amount for that user. So it would cost an additional license. We don't have like a limited user license right now. The goal in Syncro is for you to not have to have an accountant to have access, right? We want it to be seamless. We want you to be able to use everything in our system without having to have someone access it. So that would be the goal, is to set things up, have it just automatically push over to QuickBooks. They can work out of QuickBooks. We have a KB that has like a video for QuickBooks Online that we can absolutely pass on. That's about as far as it goes, but there is a guide, so we can pass that into the chat box for you too. Rob, great question. So we're using MSP 360 for backup. We are billing for actual usage. How can we show how much they're using and display that amount on the invoice? So really good question. And to be very, very transparent, I'm not sure if this is still an option in the invoices or not. I don't believe it's on mine. So check in your recurring invoices section. As you guys know, this is something we just released our own backup solution about 12 14, 16 days ago. And so this area is going to be replaced. It used to say data backup line, and then it would pull in the actual usage count from that particular customer. Right now, if you're using Syncro backups, completely integrated solution, this will you can either choose if you're going to bill based on a license count or storage. And you might even have a contract with someone that says, hey, you get 15 licenses included. Anything over that, then we're going to charge you for it. So you can actually add that in here, which is really, really awesome, just to automate your billing. If it's not in your account for your MSP 360, since for the past few years we've had an integration with them, you could reach out to support and see if that's something that has to be enabled on your account. It was there until we released ours, so definitely want to check with them, of course. And let's see, I've got a couple others. So Chris, are there plans to enhance Windows updates? For example, if there's an update that is known to cause issues, that would have the option to not approve or block. So we hear you loud and clear. This is something that us as a sales team, we've asked for a long time, and especially after last week. So it is on our roadmap. It is hopefully sooner rather than later. It is a very, very high priority internally right now. So we definitely hear you there. Brian, want to monitor event log policies or event log alerts on servers, but not computers. I believe event logs are global. So actually, they're not. So their event logs are on a policy level rather than global. So what you could do is you could have your servers in a specific policy, even if the same exact settings are the same as like the workstations, right? Just clone that policy and apply it to your servers, and then your event logs can be set up in here. So that's definitely a best practice. Yes, you can set up automated remediations with different conditions to filter out the workstations, but I would most definitely just put them in a different policy. I think it'll make your life a lot easier. And last one from Steve. I know Chocolatey is integrated into Syncro. Is this essentially just the PS packages that are bundled into Syncro, or do we actually have access to Chocolatey Pro features like their package builder? Are there any benefits? So yeah, Chocolatey is awesome. The benefit is you have over 8,000 applications to choose from. So if I come into a policy and I go to third-party patching and I can choose, we of course have just like a list of 20 or 25 in here. Pretty main applications that I can update if present, I can install, I can do not install, and you can schedule these, which is great. Now, I can also go in here, I can search for anything. I could also go into Chocolatey. We have the license for this, so you all don't have to pay anything for that. A lot of RMMs, you're paying for patching. You're paying for third-party apps. Over 8,000 applications, you guys, that you can install in mass. So you have their full community repository. I'd say that's a pretty big benefit here.
I have a comment here from Randy and a suggestion. He says, do or will you add any links to the YouTube video recaps? If not, might be a good idea. I think you mean, let me know if you mean like timestamps of like, hey, this is what we were talking about right at this moment. I love that idea. I think resource-wise, we would love to do that. Just a little capped in being able to put those, but we do copy paste the Friday chat into the description. So if you do miss those, any resources, KBs, links, anything that we include, that is going to be in the description. He says, as always, great job. I get a lot out of these. That means a lot, Randy. I know you've been here for a while, so thank you for continuing to join us, and welcome everybody who's new as well.
Thank you so much. Laura has a question, and I think this is a feature request. Can you add a variable in the name of invoices that are generated and or invoice memo, as in a time period like March or March 3rd to April 2nd. A great feature request. I was taking a look at our invoice template, and I do believe that the only date tags here give you the option for invoice date or invoice due date. There currently isn't like a more of a variable option there, but that is an awesome feature request. And then there is a question here from Ash. Is there a way to schedule a script for an offline asset for the script to run when the asset is next online? And correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, but if he schedules one outside of the policy, so like let's say we selected these here and hit manage and then run script, that unless it's designated to skip offline assets, that I'm pretty sure that it runs when the asset comes back online, but I would need to triple check that for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah. I just dropped something. Vin shared his script that for Chris that he used to uninstall the problematic update. So thank you so much. I did drop that in the chat box if anyone else wants to grab it. Disclaimer, we haven't vetted and tested that script from Syncro, and we're not providing that. That's coming from another user. But thank you, Vin. I do have a comment from Garrett, and this is very much appreciated. So if appropriate, since Mac Beta has gone public, they can PM me on Facebook or Reddit for a user's view. He is a 99% Mac shop and Added G user, but it works great. We deploy Bitdefender via Syncro integration, menu bar, chat, scripting, monitoring, etc. That is awesome. So Garrett, if you don't mind, I don't know if you have like a username or if they just search your actual name, but I'm just going to drop your first and last name in the chat box if that's okay with you. Really, really appreciate that. That's it from me.
Awesome. I have a question here from Fuzi. Any update on adding uninstall option for third-party programming or even problem KBs? So I love, we have like a whole separate conversation going on in our Q&A today, which is pretty fun. I love it. We all love it when you guys share resources with each other. So I dropped something into the chat box. We do have users using Chocolatey for uninstalling. There's a way to script it. So I dropped that into the chat box. That came from another one of our users. And then same thing, Jeff says workaround was to run my own Choco script. Jeff says KB 500802 was fixed with KB 5001567. So again, you guys can all see the Q&A. Go ahead and take a closer look. Garrett just dropped a link to his Facebook profile, so grab that if you want access to it. And there you go. The queue is empty, down to one question.
Yes, and Aaron says it does run when it's back online if you don't select skip offline. So thank you. And by the way, Aaron, I sent you an email yesterday. I hope you saw it. Because I'm trying to get you in the right hands and I want to hear about your experience. Oh, I didn't get it unless you sent it today. Okay, I'll check. Okay, perfect. Just sent it seconds ago. This is the 3-minute warning, you guys. Our queue is almost empty when I clear out Aaron's comments. But thank you all so much for joining us today. This was an awesome session, just rapid fire questions, and you guys came prepared. So we really appreciate that. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Have a great weekend, Jeremy. Make sure you go see the wildflowers this weekend. Tatiana is like loving that comment right now. She is our plant and flower gal.
Oh, I'm there. I'm already on that website. I did a ton of planting this weekend and we'll be planting for the next like weeks and weeks. So thank you for sharing that. I'm super curious now.
We have a flower fields. I'm in Southern California, and about 30 minutes from me, we have a huge flower, like just tons and tons and tons of acres, and it's so beautiful this time.
I'll just come visit you, Brandy.
Please do.
When it's safe. We bought, just like a ton of people, we bought a house last year, and since spring is just hitting where I'm living, I'm seeing all these flowers and tulips and things start to pop up out of the ground. And it's like a beautiful surprise because we bought it in the middle of winter and I didn't know what was planted there before. So like we're just starting to see things bloom and I'm like, oh my God, this is like the best gift ever. So yes, thanks for sharing that link. Super thoughtful. Thank you. Oh, chocolatey? Am I saying it wrong, Jeremy? Are you making fun of me, Jeremy? He says, can you say chocolatey? Are you making fun of my accent, Jeremy?
Yes, Aaron, I'm in San Diego, so not too far from Carlsbad, but yes, Carlsbad is where the flower fields are. Curtains.
What?
Well, I forget what candy you told me. If I was a candy, what I would be. It was like almond joy. It was like the most boring candy ever, Jeremy. HubSpot. Aaron wants to know if we have any plans for a HubSpot integration. Not that I'm aware of, but we get this a lot, and I'm happy to pass that along. We're actually looking at a lot of new integrations too, and doing some different stuff with the API. So we'll definitely add your vote to that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Andrew says, I didn't manage to join the conference, but would love to review the content. Can I get a download of the link? I'm not sure which conference. Anything that we record, we post on our YouTube channel. So if you're talking about this, yes, this will be on our YouTube channel probably by like next Friday at the latest. Usually our gal is super quick about it though.
Awesome, guys. Well, guys and gals, it is 10 a.m. our time. It is probably evening for some of you all. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Thank you for joining us today and having a little bit of fun too. Go and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.